Okay, so in this video, I want to talk about something extremely interesting, at least to me, which is how to learn in the era of AI. A lot of people nowadays, they don't think it's worth learning new things because AI is out and about and basically can do everything for us. For example, when it comes to learning a new programming language, a lot of people question whether it is worth it or not because AI can essentially code for us now. And I don't fully agree with the people that say that AI can do everything for us because at the end of the day, we're humans. And like I've explained in a video before, I do believe that the future is going to be 50% humans and 50% machines, or at least humans and machines co-living together. I don't think the future is going to be 100% machines. And I do think it is still very, very, very important to learn, but not only learn, but to learn things properly. I don't think that AI should replace your learning because otherwise you become basically a person without judgment. You can't make decisions, you can't solve any problems, you can't speak, you can't communicate, and that is not okay. So in this video, I want to show you the four-step process that I take when it comes to learning, and I'm going to tell you if you should or shouldn't use AI on each of those steps. So let's actually get into it. So I'm going to talk about the four steps that I take. The first step is deciding a topic. Second step is dive really, really deep into that topic. Number three is practice. Number four is teach it to someone. So let's talk about the first step, which is decide on a topic that you want to learn about. And why is this important? With infinite content available nowadays, most people learn randomly, and that is the truth. A lot of people just go and do some scattered learning on some random concepts on different sites, and yeah, that is okay if you want to just read about something, but it's not really going to help you learn it as such. So jumping from topic to topic with no clear goal is what most people do, and it is not really okay if you want to learn and understand something. AI makes it even more tempting to explore everything at once, which is definitely not good because then you lose a lot of focus. But learning without direction produces surface level knowledge and burnout. I do believe this is the main reason why a lot of people say that it's not worth learning something nowadays. It's not because it's not worth learning, it's because they think that learning it is going to take very little time. And I think they underestimate the amount of time that it's going to take for them to learn and understand something. I think people get frustrated when it comes to learning because we are so used to having everything literally within the click of a button that people get discouraged. And that is, again, not okay. You need to take time when it comes to learning. You need to take time to understand things. And yes, AI can give us everything in the click of a button, but that is not learning. Okay, so let's actually move on. The most important question to ask yourself when it comes to learning something is, what is my goal? What is your actual goal when it comes to learning a specific thing? Do you want to get a job? Do you want to get a better understanding of something because you're trying to solve a problem? It doesn't really matter what your goal is, but that goal is what is going to guide what you're going to learn. Now, this is another problem that I see a lot of people make, or another mistake that I see a lot of people make, which is they don't know why on earth they are studying or they are trying to understand a specific concept. It's not because they don't want to understand it, it's not because they're not interested in it, but it's because they don't have a goal. If you don't have a goal, you don't know what you need to study or what you need to learn on that process. So it is extremely important that you have a goal in mind and that anything that you learn within your learning journey is aimed at getting you closer to that goal. Okay? So should you use AI in this space? Absolutely not. You should not use AI in this space because you basically have to figure out what your goal is on your own. Let me tell you something, AI cannot tell you what your goals are. You need to figure out your goal, you need to figure out what you need to learn in order to achieve that goal. So don't use AI in this space. Now, let's go for the second step or the second phase, which is dive deep into the topic that you want to learn. Why is this important? It's because majority of people study a topic at a very, very surface level. But the true learning comes when you dive deep into a topic you want to learn about. You don't want to stay at a surface level. You really want to dive deep into it. Okay. It's not the same knowing that, for example, React exists, but you don't only have to learn or know that React exists, you also want to understand hooks. You want to understand different things that make React. Okay. So the key is not staying stuck in the what, but really trying to understand the why behind something. So just to give you a quick example, again, going back to React, if you're learning React, you want to understand why we use, for example, the use state hook, and not just know what the use state hook is or that the use state hook exists. You really want to try to understand the reason why it exists, okay? Because then you'll actually understand, okay, I understand why it exists. So now I understand, or I can actually start applying that concept in the right places. So that is extremely important. Now, should you use AI in this space? Yes, you can 100% use AI in this space with a little caveat. You really want to use AI once you have got an understanding of the concept, okay, or of the whole context of the thing that you're trying to learn. I wouldn't start or I wouldn't really dive deep into a topic with AI because it's not going to have as much information as you can actually find in books, articles, blog posts, even GitHub repos, LinkedIn, social media. You really have to dive deep into it. I would use AI later in this space once you have an understanding or yeah, a little bit more knowledge about the concept, a little bit more understanding of the context where the concept is. And I would use basically AI in there to help me summarize some things or help me better understand specific things about the concept that I'm trying to learn. Okay. Now let's go for the next phase, which is practice. It is extremely important. And understanding something conceptually and being able to implement it in a real world scenario are two completely different things. Most people stop at the understanding level, but never go out and practice. Now, this is what we used to do in school. In school, we learned a lot of stuff, or supposedly learned a lot of stuff, because I can't remember 95% of the stuff that I learned in school. And we never actually went out there and practiced with it. So we basically forgotten about it. It is just useless. You basically use your brain capacity to learn something that then you wouldn't just that to me doesn't really make a lot of sense. So the most important step to take if you truly want to understand something is to put it in practice within 48 hours of learning it. And this is actually proven. If you implement something, if you practice something within 48 hours of learning it, you will actually understand that concept much better and you will be able to go out there and create new things with that concept that you have just learned. So, for example, if you've learned Python or a specific concept about Python, if you go out there and make a Python project, it doesn't have to be the best project of your life. It has to be, or it just doesn't have to even be complex. It can be extremely simple. But if you go out there and practice with that concept, you will actually ingrain it in your brain. You'll be able to use it in a way better manner in your Python projects. Okay, that is extremely important. You want to practice it. Now, should you use AI in this space? Yes, with a big caveat here. Okay, and to show you this caveat, I want to show you the result of a study that Anthropic did. They basically grabbed a bunch of students of junior developers and they separated them into two groups. The whole group was asked to build something on Python using a library all of them were unfamiliar with. And there were two groups. One group that used AI to develop and code that project with that specific library, and another group that didn't use AI or was not allowed to use AI to code that specific project that they were asked to code. And the results literally just speak for themselves because at the end of the task, they were asked to perform a test or say the test on the specific library that they used. And the AI group averaged 50% on the quiz compared to 67% in the hand coding group, which means that the people that actually coded by hand understood way more concepts, were able to identify bugs, were able to produce better quality code and better quality projects than the people that coded with AI. Why? Because AI does not substitute learning. And AI is not going to make you learn something. Just because AI can do something for you doesn't mean that you actually know how to use it or doesn't mean that you actually understand it. That is why I say that you can use AI in this space with a big caveat because you want to use AI, for example, to give you exercises on the thing that you want to practice, but you do not want to use AI whilst you practice. You don't want AI to give you the answers to the exercises that the AI has given you or the exercises that you can find in a textbook or something like that or on a GitHub repo. You want to do this on your own, you want to practice on your own and use AI more as a mentor, as a teacher. If you really get stuck on something, ask AI, hey, I'm very stuck on this point, but I don't want you to give me the answer. I want you to explain to me the whole concept behind it so I can better understand it and get unstuck. You really want to use AI as a mentor or as a teacher, but not as a tool to give you the answer, because then that really wouldn't make sense. So let's go to the last phase, which is teach it. And this surprises a lot of people, but it's one of the main reasons why I make YouTube videos. I mean, I may not get a lot of views, but I'm teaching something to someone out there. I am speaking it out loud. I'm teaching it to even to myself on the camera. I mean, I'm teaching the stuff that I learned, which really helps me understand it better. It helps me identify gaps in my knowledge where I may not understand something as good as I thought I understood it, and then it allows me to go back and basically enhance my knowledge on that concept that I thought I knew, but turns out I didn't as much as I thought I knew about it. So why is this important? Because teaching is the final exam you can take. The moment you try to explain something to someone else, every gap in your understanding becomes visible immediately. So this is the actually the Feynman technique in action. The Feynman technique is a studying technique which essentially states that if you teach something to someone in a manner that is extremely easy or extremely simple, that means that you have understood the concept. But if you get stuck during that explanation process, during that teaching process, that means that you have knowledge gaps. And the key point in that technique is that you identify those knowledge gaps, that you can write them down, go back to them, and fill those knowledge gaps. So when you're teaching something to someone, it is very, very easy to see those knowledge gaps, which is why I really encourage, or I wouldn't really encourage anyone to teach the stuff that they learn to someone else. You can actually research this technique on Google. It is actually quite famous. So you can teach the topic by creating, for example, a LinkedIn post about it, explaining it to a friend, or creating a YouTube video about it, which again, like I said, is what I do essentially. And should you use AI in this space? Absolutely not. You do not want to use AI in this space. You want to teach this stuff yourself. You don't want to ask AI to give you presentation or slides or text that you could use to explain the concept to someone. You want to do this on your own because it will actually help you. It's going to take you a lot of time or a lot more time than if AI would do it, but it is going to help you understand the concept that much better, and it's going to help you identify those knowledge gaps that I was talking about. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. It is an absolute pleasure to put this sort of content out, not only because it helps you, but it also helps me understand better what I do and why I do it. So it is, yeah, it is very exciting for me. So anyway, thank you for watching. Consider subscribing and liking if you found this helpful, and I will see you on the next one.